you need to have that clarity across the country. So there's one set of instructions for parents. I think it's clear that if you're in a situation where you're in emergency services or an essential service worker, that you can safely get your child to school. But I think beyond that now, we're starting to get conflicting health advice from the Commonwealth level and Victoria in particular about whether or not it's actually safe to have schools operating in that face-to-face learning. So again, looking for a bit of clarity out of that from National Cabinet later on today.
Okay, jobs figures coming out in a couple of hours' time from now. Things are going to get worse, aren't they? This will show probably about 5.5% unemployment, which is the worst we've had for some time. But it could get beyond that.
Yeah, that's right, Pete. Looking at I think the median market projection today is for 5.5% for the March number. And of course, we saw Treasury figures out yesterday, which suggests that with the JobKeeper package in place, that we could see unemployment still rising to 10%. And of course, the IMF is suggesting that unemployment can continue to rise in Australia over the next few years. So it's a real concern beyond hopefully getting through COVID-19 over the next 6 months. So yeah, it's a new reality, and as we know, what's quite concerning is for that group of casual workers who haven't been caught by the JobKeeper package, who are unemployed, and I suppose at the moment in the process of hopefully receiving that additional support through the job seeker payment, the enhanced New Start payment.
What are the voter concerns at the moment, James?
Yeah, we saw there's some research out today from the Ipsos Monitor in Fairfax and Nine today suggests that the concerns are now sort of switching away from issues like climate change, perhaps unsurprisingly to state of the economy, unemployment, and healthcare. So it's perhaps a little bit unsurprising given we're all focused that we're all at home, we're stuck, and a lot of people for the first time in their careers have been out of work. So it's a real concern, and it's a changing set of concerns in terms of what are voter concerns. I suppose from a political perspective, in terms of how governments have looked to respond, they have put those issues at the forefront and they've put ideology aside and looked to sort of put a social safety net in that supports people. I suppose the real challenge now will be how we manage that transition and ease those restrictions back, and hopefully in time get back to some normalcy and see the economy hopefully come roaring back.
Well, that is the debate now, isn't it? I mean, people are talking more and more about that. I noticed the front page of the Financial Review this morning. It comes as a surprise to nobody that business confidence is at all-time lows. Now there's a push to try and get the retail sector to reopen again. Same with schools, same with easing restrictions. You know, what do you do here, though? Because you just don't want that second wave.
Yeah, look, this is the thing. I mean, politically, they've really only got one shot at this in terms of getting it right with a very clear pathway to ease restrictions back and get the economy going again. So in some ways, you'd hope they're sort of focusing more on the health side than the economic side at the moment. You want to have our decision makers getting it right in terms of containing the spread of the infection, and then making sure the restrictions come off after that. I mean, the worst thing for all of us from an economic and a health perspective would be going out too soon, easing restrictions, having the infection spread, and then everyone back home again. I think that would be an absolute disaster, and certainly a disaster politically.
Well, then it would just be all this for nothing. That's what you don't want.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And then we're all back to it. We're back to square one. And I mean, the death toll is one thing, and that's obviously a real concern that needs to be managed in the mix here. But like the economic impact of having to come back to this and effectively start again. So you'd hope the decision makers at the moment are erring on the side of a cautious reopening of the economy.